Just west of Alexandria, between the Quatara Depression and the sea, British forces must stand against Nazi Marshal Rommel. Tanks, trucks, guns, troop transport, everything that can move along the crowded supply lines. General Auchinleck is everywhere as his troops move up. The British commander rallies every member of the vast concentration of arms. His situation is the most critical since British and Allied forces first faced the Axis in Egypt. Reinforcements of anti-aircraft and other artillery are hurried into place, and stores of ammunition are placed within reach of heavy batteries of field guns. It takes power to stop Rommel. Fortunately, British air power, heavily reinforced with American-made bombers, has more than held its own since Rommel smashed through almost to within sight of Alexandria.
The Luftwaffe isn't stopping Britain this time, and General Auchinleck's mechanized columns roll westward. The Royal Air Force establishes an umbrella of protection. As the British pursue German General Rommel and his Italian allies, they destroy scores of Axis planes. Some with Italian markings, but the majority bearing the Nazi swastika.
Through RAF bomb sites, advancing Axis columns have become the targets of a constant aerial attack. The 8th Army is a fire-eating team of hard-fighting demons, and they go only one way, forward.
German equipment stands useless beside dead Germans. The advancing British take huge stores of enemy bombs, some weighing well over 1,000 pounds.
Perhaps British control of the air west of Alexandria may give Auchinleck time to reorganize for really effective resistance. But if these planes fail to hold the line, the situation will be grave indeed. The odds against the United Nations here are great. To beat Rommel is a tough job, but the United Nations are determined to do it. Army flying fortresses accompanying them, the Marines launched their attack on Japan's Solomon Island bases. These are the first films of the United States' initial step toward recapturing Japanese positions in the Pacific. At 0 hour, every ship breaks out the national ensign. From cruiser decks, planes catapult into the sky. The Japs are going to get something they don't expect. Guns thunder as the fleet shells enemy positions. The big bombers join in pounding the shoreline. And now the first forces of Leathernecks go overside into their landing barges. As our new type boats head for land, protected by the guns of the fleet and guarded by our planes, a curtain of anti-aircraft fire holds off Jap air attack. Machine gun emplacements are set up once the beaches are cleared. Nearby, a deserted Japanese camp is found with every evidence that the enemy got out fast. Stenciled on palm trees, Jap road signs show that this was a well-organized garrison. Marine General Vandergrift stands at salute, while Old Glory goes up over the first land recaptured from Japan. In hundreds of barges, a mixture of dangerous fighting men. Canadians of 7 famous regiments, 2 English commando groups, and U.S. Rangers are piloted to France. Tanks cross the channel, the first since Dunkirk, and the fighting Frenchmen go along with them. Enemy shore up ahead. Smoke screens blanket the barges laid down by the Royal Navy's busy destroyer flotillas. This protection is needed, because by chance a German E-boat patrol intercepted the commando barges and gave the alarm. The city of Dieppe. Once it was famous as a resort for honeymooners, but not today. Now it is the target for a relentless hail of bombs and shells from British aircraft and guns on German defensive positions to soften up the target for the attackers. Nazi planes strike back from all the Channel bases. Throughout the landing operations and the fighting on shore, a constant air battle goes on overhead. There in the center, a German plane falls. RAF losses are heavy. Here goes a Spitfire shot down by German fighter planes that managed to break through. But the pilot is safe, and a Corvette sweeps up to rescue him. This RAF sergeant pilot, suffering from shock and a lot of water, needs a rest. But he'll be back in there hitting when they get him dried out. Landing barges as far as the eye can reach. Commandos and American Ranger units landed on the left, Canadians in the center in Dieppe itself, and more commandos on the right. The raid lasted 9 hours, and every bit of that time was bitter fighting. Those white streaks are tracer bullets from Nazi fighters aimed at the camera plane. It's a raging battle everywhere, air, land, and sea. The raiders gather to return. Within 6 minutes of their schedule, the last men to leave are on the barges. The scene reminds you of Dunkirk, but the spirit is different. The men in these barges, the pilots in these American planes, know that they have struck a vital blow and retired according to plan. A successful rehearsal for future action. Here a night bombing squadron. Its pilots in the briefing room at the outset of a raid deep into Germany. The crews change into their flying clothes, make last-minute preparations, then wait for the signal that will send 1,100 planes from airfields all over England. And these pictures, first to show Britain's new low-altitude bombing, are the finest photos of hedge-hopping flight that ever reached the screen. The Bostons sweep across the channel, barely skimming the waves. Nazi fighter planes can't dive this low without danger of crashing. Now over the surf and straight inland, with the French countryside whizzing by about 50 feet below. Reaching the outskirts of an industrial city in western France, the squadron just clears the rooftops. At this altitude, it is almost impossible for the RAF film unit to photograph the bombs which the Bostons have dropped. A bomb explodes as the planes wheel back toward the coast. Now they are over the seaport of St. Malo, raining explosives down on the docks. Headed home again, these lightning-fast ships skim over the channel. Another sweep over occupied France to shake German confidence. Day and night, day after day, that's what it'll take.